All right, welcome back. I hope you like the new location. So this video is going to be called free software. So this is one of the reasons I feel so strongly about free software. Free software could have not put us in the situation we're currently in, which is basically complete tech tyranny, right? We have a technocracy of Google, Facebook, Twitter. If you think about and it is tyranny. We are unfortunately in the United States living under tyranny. But if you think about just to give you some examples, Google tampers with their search results, right? So, the flow of information, the information you can find, it's going to be curated by Google. Right now, that wasn't how search engines existed in the past. But obviously, for political reasons, that's what they're now doing. So, literally, there's only certain things that you're allowed to see, and unless you know how to. Most people don't even know what a search engine is or how to use a different search engine other than Google, right? If you look at Twitter, you have the blue check mafia, right? These psychotic blue checks who have literally ruined at this point probably countless people's lives. How many people have lost their job or have been outed for having a bad opinion, right? Because of these this priest class of blue checks on Twitter. It's pretty interesting to think about, right? If you think about YouTube, even the state of science, which is so important to the natural progress of a nation. It's entirely hindered because you're only allowed to, we're actually almost not allowed to engage in science or the scientific method, right? Of course, the great irony is that these are the same people who claim that they're the science or the trust the science, right? To do science is to question, to challenge, right? And we're actually not allowed to do that in the United States, right? So we have, again, essentially three companies that are the arbiters of truth and information, right? Which is really unfortunate, and it leads to, again, the I guess you maybe would want to call it the soft tyranny that we're living under today. And I think the great tragedy of all this is that it was avoidable, right? Had we been committed, or had the tech movement been committed to free software from the beginning, none of this could have happened, right? People wouldn't have been willing to. You could make a Google, right? But if Google started doing nefarious things, well, you could just clone Google, right? And then you could do your browser, right? And then you could create your browser and people would likely use that, right? And you could apply the same logic to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, obviously a bunch of other social media applications. And I frankly think there's a good chance that social media simply wouldn't have existed. Because without the monetization, now you could still do open software with ads, right? You can look at Brave Browser, which I use, by the way. I like Brave Browser. They have ads, and they claim, and I believe that they don't use telemetry. So you could still have ads, but I think that there will be very questionable efficacy, especially if people could very easily turn them off, which obviously they'd have to be able to do if it was free software, because if you didn't do that, somebody would just clone your repo and, make it optional to do that. And obviously it would be free software, so you could just, change the source code yourself. But I think there's a good chance that either social media would be significantly different and better and not tyrannical, or simply wouldn't exist. Either outcome is significantly better than what we're living under today. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks.